Hi, Alexandria. Hi, Crystal. Thank you all for all the blue hearts. Okay. Hi, Jennifer. When you've been doing everything like I have been today, you'd be yawning too. This is a surprise live because I didn't have time to get the episode for today uploaded. So here I am. Hi, Katoya. Don't start. Don't start. So, I'm doing the episode today because, again, I didn't have time to upload the episode. So, here we are together live. I'm going to be talking about maintaining your momentum during the holidays with your medical coding studying. Because just because it is the holidays, just because you got family coming in from out of town, or you have all of these things going on, doesn't mean you have to neglect your studies. Okay, this is not an excuse, and this is not the time to slow down, especially if you are on the upswing of your final stretch of study. You don't need to stop now, because trust me, if you stop in the month of December, because some people will do that, they stop and then all of a sudden they remember how good it feels to not have to study, and then all of a sudden they just forget about studying and they lose it right at the end. So this is not the time to get tackled at the end, okay? This is the time to really dig deep and really kind of stretch yourself for the things that you want to do, okay? You have to make this a priority. And since we have enough people, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue. I'm a medical coder. Okay, guys, studying during the holidays. Yes, it is possible to do this because you have to set this as a priority. If you are studying medical billing and coding, you have to set it as a priority. If you don't, there's not going to be anybody else that will make this a priority for you. Even I can't make it a priority. I tell people all the time to study 20 hours per week, and I still get looked at like I got three heads. No, Blue, that's impossible. Wrong. It is possible. If you have time to sit there and fool around on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat or whatever the heck else is going on out there, if you have time to do that, oh, trust me, you have 30 minutes to be practicing with your workbooks. You have 30 minutes to watch YouTube videos about anatomy and medical terminology. That is something that all coders need, desperately need. That's not something that you can just gloss over. That's not something that you can just skip. And a lot of people try to skip that. They want to know, what do I need to know to pass the test? And whenever I get emails like that, I don't answer, because to me, you're wasting my time. Because you obviously do not understand how important it is to learn medical billing and coding the proper way, which is learning your medical terminology, your anatomy, your pathophysiology. I talked about this yesterday. You know, it's something that is very important. But there's a lot of people out there who are just trying to take those shortcuts, and this channel is not for shortcuts. I'm just saying. So, let's see. Yay for the live. All right. Yes, Nina, those are the facts. So, some ways to kind of incorporate some study while you are, entertaining family and friends and things like that. If you're saying, no, Blue, I have too much going on, then early in the morning, 30 minutes earlier than you normally get up, you can turn something on to listen to it. You don't have to be fully awake yet, but that stimulus is going on in the back. And just listening to it, even while you're getting ready for the day, brushing your teeth, or, getting ready, putting your makeup on, things like that, you could be listening to Crash Course that has videos on YouTube about anatomy. You could be listening to the coding guidelines, and I've already explained how to listen to those online. But you can totally listen to those. And so that way, during those 30 minutes that you have to get ready, you're listening to something. You're making good use of that time. You have to learn to be intentional with the time that you spend while you're studying, okay? And when you do that, oh, believe me, you'll be a lot better for it, because the stimulus is constant, okay? And then you take 30 minutes and then you stop. And then, of course, if your family members are coming in and they're saying, oh, well, we're going to do this party and that party and this and the third and blah, 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 that's fine, guys. You have time in between time to be listening to something, or to be practicing, or 30 minutes by yourself. You don't have to be on top of your family members all of the time and your friends. There's other people around that are going to be entertaining them as well. It's not just you. Don't shoulder all the burden to yourself in the fact that you think that you have to be the super person, right? Superman or superwoman out there entertaining everybody. Everybody's there with other people, and you're not, neglecting all of them the whole time. You're taking 30 minutes for yourself. 30 minutes while everybody's getting ready to be listening to something or to be working through the books. Okay, guys, you just have to set a priority for it. Some people will get up earlier and they will make the time. I've had many mothers who I've tutored who have said, Blue, I wake up 2 hours before my kids get up, and I've been really at this, and they made it a priority because they wanted to have that quiet time. And so their quiet time is either 4 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock, and they're doing it. They're really pushing themselves. To me, I say that's fantastic. If you have the discipline to get up, I am more of a night owl. When I'm studying, I seem to get more of my wind to study at night. But that's when everything has calmed down from the day, and then I'm able to really focus on what I'm doing. And I could study late into the night, whereas other people can fall asleep and then get up early and do that. That doesn't work too well for me. So you have to find out what works best for you. If you are more of a night owl, well, when everybody falls asleep, then that's when you go and you do your thing. It's when you start studying. And it's okay because you're having that time to yourself. Again, you have to prioritize it, and no one's going to prioritize this but you. Okay. But what I'm saying is during this month of October is the critical time, because this is a time where you're going to be pulled in a lot of different directions, and there's going to be a lot of people who are going to try to distract you from your goals. And but I'm saying this very clearly, okay? Very, very clearly. Study, but spend time with your loved ones. Do not use this as an excuse to neglect them, because they will throw it in your face, okay? So you don't want that. You want to make everything balanced. Are they going to be a little bit jealous because you're spending a little bit of time with your books and not all this time with them? Maybe, sure, but if they're supportive of you, they'll know that this is just a temporary time that you are doing this. This is not meant to be permanent. This is just to keep you on that forward momentum. And if they truly do care about your goals as much as you do, they will support you on this. Okay? It doesn't matter who they are, your kids, your loved ones, they will support you. But, it's up to you. You have to be the strong one, because sometimes people are not going to see your vision. They're not going to see what you see for yourself. And they're going to want to try to bring you into whatever they're doing. Or maybe it's your friends that are not wanting you to do this. Oh, why are you doing this? Oh, so-and-so said, and I heard it's hard to get a job and it's going to go away. Again, talking like they know and they don't know clearly, So that's why you want to make sure that you are staying focused and keep with your goals. Okay. Don't give them up now. Now is not the time to give them up. So keep up with that. So that way in January, if you're going to take your test, you'll be ready. You're not going to feel that guilt of, well, I wasn't, able to study because, I'm using my friends and family as an excuse because they were constantly there. You're not having to entertain them 24 hours a day, guys. I mean, it's not like before where we didn't have like iPads and all this other stuff. We didn't have that back then, and people had to be more involved. Everybody has phones and computers and iPads and all this other stuff. So they're busy entertaining themselves a lot of those times. You're just there, okay? So just make sure that you are staying focused with what you want to do, because again, no one's going to push you but you, okay? You have to be your biggest cheerleader for yourself sometimes. I know it's a little bit hard for some, but once you start learning to do that, trust me, it gets a lot easier for, people to be telling you, oh, I want you to do this. Okay, when I get done, I need 30 minutes and I'll be right with you. Nothing wrong with that, guys. And you could squirrel in those 3.5 hours in a day and still make 20 hours in a week. 3.5 hours, 5 days a week, and then 2.5 hours on the weekend. And boom, you've got all the rest of the time to do with whatever you want to do. That's just a small sacrifice of time. It doesn't have to be for hours and hours on end, just 30 minutes minimum, 1 hour maximum. I'm just saying. So, yep, that's right, Katoya. Study, that's how you pass. Hi, Natasha. Um, excuse me. Alexandra says, I'm trying to read a little bit of the ICD-10 PCS every day. That's great. All right. Hi, Janiqua. All right. Oh, hello, JR. Thank you. um, yeah, Alexandria asked for you yesterday, JR. I'm just saying. So anyway, that's my message for today. Not that the show's not over yet, but I'm just saying that that's mainly what I wanted to talk about. You know, a lot of times that people use the holidays as an excuse. Oh, I couldn't do this because of, whatever. You don't have to wait till the beginning of the year to start with your goals that you're going to have for next year, which if your goal next year is to take the certification exam or to continue to study so that you can be more prepared, it doesn't hurt to start today. Today is December the 5th. So it doesn't hurt to start today. You can get a jump start in the new year. You can start making yourself be more disciplined. It takes 30 days to develop a habit, guys. Trust me. It takes 30 days to develop a habit. And when you really want something, it gets even easier once you have that mental focus on what you want to do, then you will get it done. Okay. There's no excuses. Honestly, there isn't. It doesn't matter if you're working a full-time 40-hour-a-week job. Doesn't matter. You can still make the time. Trust me, you can still make the time. Jennifer says, I listen to Crash Course when I'm driving. There you go. The party planning. Well, so I've talked about this on my Patreon channel, but I guess since Alexandria brought it up here, I will talk about it here too. So at my workplace, I have been voluntold, which that's slang for, yes, you're going to do this. I was voluntold to be on the events planning committee. I love parties, okay? I am a party planner. I love cooking. I love parties. I love doing all that stuff. And so this party is going to be a lot of fun, I think, but it's just a matter of getting more people involved, within my own department. And I'm working it. I'm schmoozing. Okay. I've got up to 5 people so far confirmed. Okay. I got a couple of maybes out there, but I'm very excited because the whole goal is to at least get half of the department there. So I'm getting there. I'm getting there. But it's taking a little bit of finesse. But I did bring a little bit of the holiday spirit in this week. I did some goodie bags for the girls. And I got a water bottle and I put a label on it. And it says Happy Holidays from our department. And then I put the year and things like that. So it's a really nice bottle. And it's got, it's just water, basically. And but it's the Grinch. So it's printed and it's, personalized with the Grinch stuff on there. And so I thought it was really cute. I got that in there, and I got one of those little those little small wallet, calendars, And so it goes up to 2025. So I was like, hey, that's perfect. I use those because, trust me, whenever I need to look at the calendar, it irritates me when I have to stare at my phone. So I like to have those little pocket calendars. And so that's what I have in there. And then I put some other little goodies in there. But my most favorite thing is the Christmas duck. So there's these little duckies, the little rubber duckies that I got. And they are the freaking cutest things. They have the little top hats, or they have the little reindeers, the little reindeer horns or whatever. And so I put those in there. It's the cutest freaking thing. And so far the girls that have picked up their bags, they love them. So I'm so excited. But, it's nice to share a little bit of that holiday spirit. My tree that is similar to this one is up in my office. And it's, all decorated and everything. So I think it's pretty cool. It doesn't look like Christmas threw up in my office just yet. And that's what I call it when, I put everything out. I have to find my other box of decorations, but I do have a few things around, which makes it very nice. It's nice and, holiday-ish, but I was told, I was like, this is early for doing this. And I was like, well, I want a chance for everybody to get theirs, because at my facility we have a lot of remote workers. And so what they do is they come in for a week, and then they work at the facility for a week, and then they go home for the rest of the month. And so that's fine, but it really does separate us as a department. And so I wanted to be sure that I could catch as many of the girls that were going to come in as soon as they come in, so that way they don't miss out on getting their goodie bag. I don't want them to be getting their goodie bag back in January. I want them to be able to get it this month. So that's why I brought it in early, so everybody has a chance to get theirs. But like I said, it's already brought a few smiles, so I think it's pretty good. And I ordered a Grinch t-shirt, which I'm very excited for. I don't wear t-shirts. Y'all know this. Y'all have seen me. Very rarely do I wear t-shirts. I think I've worn a t-shirt on the channel twice. It was my ortho coder shirt. It had like the skeleton on it, with the bones and stuff like that. It says ortho coder. And then the other one was one of those saying shirts from Amazon that I got from one of my viewers. Something about underestimate me. See what happens. A lot of people underestimate me, but it's okay. You don't have to expect all these things that, I'm capable of, it's nice when, people are surprised. But anyway, so I only wear t-shirts very rarely when I'm presenting or when I'm doing anything, because to me, it's just like, if I'm out doing errands, yes, I'll be in a t-shirt, no problem. But when I'm doing this, I like to keep it in, business, but for this party, I'm going to have a little bit of fun. But I forget what the saying is, but it's so cute. And it's a baby Grinch that's on the t-shirt. So I'll have to show it to y'all when I get it, but I'm very excited. So, all right, what did I miss? Okay. Becky's says, also trying to read the ICD-10 PCS every day. Am just reading and not in any program yet. No, we didn't. That's great though, Becky's Corner. We have to get a leg up. A lot of the times the programs are not covering a lot of that stuff. So it's good that you are doing that already. Yes, the Grinch stocking in the back. Thanks. Thanks, JR. Yes, it is a lot of information to retain. Yes, a little baby Grinch. It is so freaking cute. I love it. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We are having it catered. This party is going to be catered, so it's going to be some local place that they're a barbecue place, and so there's going to be like brisket and chicken and greens, which I don't eat greens. I have never liked greens. There's just something about just the way that it looks. It's not aesthetically pleasing to me, and it doesn't have a great smell to it either. But they do have mac and cheese and like cornbread and all that other stuff. So I'm cool with that, and hey, brisket, I'm there, So there's that. And then of course the girls are bringing desserts and things. So I think it's going to be a good time, and it's going to be already next week. And I sent the email out to the girls telling them like, hey, it's less than 2 weeks away, and we're busy planning this party, and there's going to be some people that are getting their awards because like for work and stuff like that. And I think it's going to be really nice. So we'll see. This weekend I have to do the saran wrap ball game. So if you don't know what it is, saran wrap ball is like you wrap the best prize in the middle, and then you wrap saran wrap around it, and then you put other little prizes and goodies and things like that in it. And so basically, until you get into a good size, then during the game, people have on oven mitts, and they have to try to unwrap this saran wrap ball with all these goodies that are in it. And while they're trying to unwrap it, somebody is rolling the dice, and they have to wait till they get doubles, and then it's their turn to open up, to open up the thing while the next person rolls the dice until they get doubles and it's, the other person's turn. But it is so much fun. I've played this a time or two already, and it is hysterical. It is so much fun. Like, stuff is just flying everywhere, and it is just, it's a great time. So we have that planned, and then we have the white elephant gift exchange. So if you don't know what white elephant is, it's just basically like you bring in a wrapped gift and then you pull numbers, and then whatever number you are, you go up and if your number gets called, you go up and you pick out a gift. And then if you like it, you can keep it. And then the next person goes and they unwrap a gift or whatever. And if you like that gift, then, if the other person likes your gift, they can take it from you. And it can only move 3 times and then it's frozen. Nobody else can take it anymore. So it gets funny when people start trying to hide their gifts, and you have to kind of hold them up and, do all that stuff. But I don't know. I think it's a good time, but we have to, I mean, we don't have to play this game, but it is the game that everybody can pretty much agree on, when it comes to these types of things. And everybody likes the game anyway. So, let's see. Hi, Nadia. Yes. I am not really talking about much tonight other than the fact that you should not lose your momentum now because it's December with your studies. You still have to incorporate time to study. You still have to continue to be as disciplined and as focused and try not to let anybody else get in your way in terms of like, oh, you're not paying attention to us. Then you need to make sure that you're getting up earlier or you're staying up later. So that you have a few minutes by yourself to study or practice with a book. Don't neglect practicing with the book. Looking up codes is very important, but also making sure that you read the coding guidelines or you're listening to them is also really important. You can be listening to the guidelines while you're, doing your makeup or, doing your morning routine. You could be listening to them. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort to do that. Is just getting that constant stimulus. It's going to help you. Okay. And if you have 30 minutes here or there, you can work on flashcards. There's tons of things that you can do to make your study portable, no matter where you are. Okay. Whether it is, reading an article or whatever, or, reading something from your book, or some people have said that they have their coding guidelines printed out and they carry it with them. So if they ever have any downtime, if they're, at an appointment or something and they have to wait, well, they're reading their coding guidelines. The more you read the coding guidelines, the better off you'll be. That's not something that you should ever skimp on. Don't ever skimp on that, okay? Because people that don't understand the guidelines often get the coding wrong. I'm just saying, JR says that game gets intense when lottery tickets are involved. Oh, yes, I've seen that too. It was somebody else's party. It was a private party that I had gone to, and they were doing that. They were fighting over those lottery tickets. It was the funniest thing. Nadia says, my daughter is 21 years old, medical assistant, and her first job ever. And this Friday is her clinic holiday dinner at a local steakhouse and Secret Santa exchange too. Oh, that sounds nice. Jane says, medical coding is wonderful and interesting. So many branches to go into. Blue is so right. That is correct. Nadia says, yes, I'm still studying. My new class begins January the 3rd. I will be in coding 3. That's awesome. Jane, not Jane. Yeah, it is Jane. Jane says, understand how injections to be coded, external injuries, paying attention to the diagnosis in order to do the combo diagnosis codes. Yes, that even gets veteran coders as well. If you are not up on those guidelines, because the guidelines will let you know too when it starts talking about those combination codes and when those are applying. And if you know the rules, you'll be able to catch those very easily in the book. Diabetes comes to mind because diabetes says diabetes with, and then there's all those conditions. And if you know your rules, you know there's going to be automatically those ones that are going to be combined, that there's not a need for those, what is it, like that, it doesn't have to have those causal words in order to be able to put them together, because it is presumed that those are together. So, you know, that's what knowing the guidelines is all about, guys. And if you have the ICD-10 PCS book, and I see a couple of people reading them, you should be practicing also as well, because it's not just about reading the guidelines for ICD-10 PCS if you're studying that. It's also actually applying those codes. I found that to be the case for myself. When I was going through and looking at the guidelines, I'm like, okay, it's not making sense. And it wasn't until I actually got into it and started coding it out that it started making more sense. For me, that was what helped. Because sometimes like these words start crossing into each other, and I'm just like, oh no, I needed to see this in action. So that's what I did when I was learning PCS. Um, Let's see. Jane says, break those guidelines in. How to code fractures, lacerations, physicals, etc. Nadia says, we have a practical joker in the family. I remember one year an uncle of mine Christmas wrapped the toilet seat for what elephant gift gave. Oh my goodness. In my opinion, smaller gifts are the best ones. Yes, they are. But it really all depends. Sometimes when you know what an item is, like if it's like a wine bottle, sometimes some of those wines are pretty good, especially if you know your wines. If you know your wines, then you can spot a good one. But it really all depends, because some people can't pick. Some people cannot pick wines, but others can, but it really all depends. I like those gifts anyway. Let's see. JR, that was a crappy thing to do with the toilet seat. I must go, ladies, but good luck, and listen to Blue. She's good. Thank you, Jane. Good night. Nadia says, in my current coding 2 class, we are covering modifiers. 2 weeks left before the break. Okay, well, good. But as I was saying, and I know you were here because I saw you earlier too, make sure that you're continuing to practice, even when you are on the break, because being ahead of your fellow students is going to help you. It's going to help build your confidence. It's going to help you build your understanding without all that pressure of being in the classroom, right? You are able to have this time to figure the stuff out. Do I say you need to study every day? No, you don't have to study every day. You can take days off. It is okay, but don't take too many days off in a row, I've always said, okay? If you take 2 days off, that's fine. More than 2 days, it gets a little hairy, because then it's a slippery slope where you can just start to not study, and then all of a sudden you lose your momentum, and you don't want to do that. At least it's just what I say anyway. Alexandria, I am trying to keep reading my books because I don't use them in my job. I use the CDT book for the dental. Oh, okay. Well, at least you're still making use of your time anyway at home. And that's what a lot of people say too, is that, they don't use their books at work, so they just don't have any motivation to use them at home. No, that's when you can practice at home. That's when you can use them to still build up your skill. You should never allow your environment to stop you from really developing your own skill. Just because you don't use it at work doesn't mean you can't come home and look at it, right? I'm just saying, I read a lot at home as well. Well, that's good. I'm glad, because reading is important. A lot of people have gotten far away from reading, and it's unfortunate because it shows. It really does show. It shows with the amount of retention that we can keep this information, and it really does show. As far as comprehension too, because I have been shocked the number of people who have told me, Blue, I don't have really good comprehension skills when it comes to reading. How can you not have good comprehension skills when it comes to reading, especially if you want to get into a field where it is 90% of what we do in a day is read. So, that's something that you really have to make sure of when you're getting into something like this, is that, you are really understanding what you're about to get into. So that's just my advice there. Yes, exactly, JR. Funny. But, that's what I have to say about that. And let's see, what else? What is tomorrow's show on? Tomorrow's show is about... Oh, we're going to talk about remote coding again tomorrow. Because I see a lot of people talking about remote coding, and they're brand new and they want to get into remote coding right away. And I just want to talk about some things that I think people should know, although some of this is probably going to fall on deaf ears, because when it comes to what people think medical coding is versus what it actually is two different things. Because sometimes people are sold the dream and they wholeheartedly believe in this dream, and they're just like, oh, it's this, it's that, it's going to be so easy. It's not. It's just data entry. No, it's not. Data entry doesn't require you to understand rules. It doesn't require you to follow ethics and do all of these things. It doesn't require you to do all that. Coding does, and it's very important to know the difference, because if you don't know the difference, it could be a problem, so but there's just a few things that I want to go over about that, about remote coding. So we'll see, but that will be tomorrow's episode. Like I said, I just didn't have time today to get this one uploaded, and I didn't want to miss a night because I don't like to do that either. I like to make sure that all my shows are consistent. But again, there's a lot of things going on in the back. So I just want to make sure that I'm here for all of you. So does anybody else have any questions? Infinite says, hi Blue, did you ever experience burnout when you were studying? And if so, how did you deal with it? I wouldn't say it was burnout. I wouldn't call it burnout. It was more fatigue. And for me, I do see other people when they're burning out. They're just like, I don't want to do this. This is not what I thought it was. This seems so boring. And that's burnout. What I experienced more of was fatigue, because I was just going, and I wasn't stopping. And so and that was back then when I didn't know, like, to pace myself with taking breaks. And I would study for longer than 1 hour at a time. And so that would contribute to my fatigue. And then, when I get tired like that, I start getting irritable and, really short, because, what do you do, when you're tired and you're not sleeping like you should, or you're not, taking care of yourself like you should. And so since then, I have learned to be mindful of my breaks and to be more organized with my approach to studying. Because if I'm just reading willy-nilly and not having a purpose of like, okay, it's this chapter that I want to read, this chapter I want to go over, this is what I want to talk about in the subject or whatever. If I don't focus on that and I'm just going, it can contribute to how I feel with that. But having the goals in front of you too helps. Me knowing that I wanted to get back up on my feet, and being such a young adult at the time, and I was in my mid 20s going through all of this. And to me, that's a young adult. And, you're going from being a teenager to a young adult. And I had a lot of other stuff going on at that time too. And so for me, it was just like, okay, this is my goal. I'm going to make sure that I, get through school, get my certification so that I can get out there and get a job and get back up on my feet. That was my whole thing, It wasn't about anything else. And that was my whole purpose. And which is why I was running myself ragged, and which is why I would get irritable and not really understand what was happening. Because I was trying so hard just to make sure that I understood everything. And so, my mom, of course, was the one who brought it to my attention. She's like, hey, you need to slow down because, you do need to take breaks. And I would feel so guilty taking breaks. I feel like, oh no, that's just wasting time. And, my mom reminded me of like, hey, you have to take breaks because if you don't take breaks, then you're going to burn out. And then it'll all be for nothing because then you won't pass. Then you won't be able to do what you want to do because you're just tired. You're overly tired. So then I started to make sure that I incorporated those breaks so that way I didn't get like that. And knowing that I wanted to get certified and I wanted to get my job and so that way I can just move forward again because when you have to stop and reset your life and in the span of a year this all happened and you have to reset your life and figure everything out. That was a whole learning experience as well. So what I would say if you are facing this, if you're facing burnout and you're saying I'm spending too many hours studying and none of it is sinking in, then you have to cut down on the amount of time that you are studying, like this stretch of study that you do. So if you're studying for more than an hour, you need to stop that. You need to study for 1 hour and then stop. So that way you give yourself a break. Be mindful of your nutrition because if you are just, not taking care of yourself and eating a bunch of salty things or, you're having too much caffeine, that doesn't help you. Too much caffeine doesn't help you. It just makes you jittery, especially if you're not getting outside to just take a walk and getting some of that sun in. Because you don't have to be out there trying to tan yourself, but, being outside to get a little bit of sun does help, even if it's just for a few minutes. That's enough, just to kind of like give your brain like, okay, we're out here in the sun, we got some fresh air, and it's enough to get your body, going again. So you can't always spend time in the house studying, and that's very important. So taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, and giving yourself breaks, allowing yourself to have that break. If there is a show that you like, it's okay to take a break and watch that show for 30 minutes or 1 hour. So that way you have your whole entire time to be with a show that you enjoy, that it helps you to relax. There's a lot of shows out there that are like that. For me, whenever I have that, when I need to like kind of zone out and not think, I watch Jersey Shore. I watched Jersey Shore. Now, not the new ones, but from the beginning time when they were first there. Why would you watch that, Blue? I watch it because I don't have to think. It's just these young people that are just, out there partying, having a good time. And there's no seriousness to it. There's nothing like that is so, like I have to learn this, learn this, learn this. This is just something that I can just zone out to and not even think. And so for me, that works. And so I can watch the show for 30 minutes and then get back to what I was doing. And then like, maybe later on go back to another episode. Just because sometimes I laugh at some of the things that happen, especially when they would run around the house and chase each other with water balloons. I thought that was funny. That was one of my most favorite episodes that I like to watch. But it's just something that, I would watch to just kind of like zone out, and it's a set time, 30 minutes. And then I could just get back to doing whatever I was doing, and getting up and moving around also did help. So I would recommend that as well. You cannot reach your goals if you're going to burn out. And in order to avoid that burnout, you have to make sure that you are giving yourself breaks in between. It's okay to take a day off. Don't feel guilty about it, but don't make it a habit, right? Don't make it like, oh, I took a day off and I'm gonna take another day off and, okay, I'll take a week off. No, don't do that, because then all of a sudden it's a slippery slope. And then by the time you know it, a month goes by and you haven't studied. Just take a day, guys. It's not going to hurt you. And then you go back to doing what you were doing. Okay. So that's what I would recommend if you feel like nothing is sinking in. And then also incorporating the perspective of somebody else. That may help you. If you are getting stuck on something that's just not making any sense, and if there's somebody else in your class that is like you, that is just like, okay, trying to figure it out as well, buddy up. but again, you got to be careful with that though, because sometimes like they'll start complaining that, oh, I can't find a job and I can't do this, thinking like 5 years down the road. Relax. You got this thing in front of you right now, so you need to focus on it. Okay, you need to focus on studying, because you have to understand that in order to get that life 5 years down the road, right? So just make sure that if you understand something and they don't understand it, then you can explain it. And then if they understand something that you don't understand, then they can explain it to you, and maybe that might help. So that's something that, seeing it from somebody else's perspective can also keep you motivated, and it can keep you like, okay, we've got this, we can move forward. If you are in a situation where you're learning this by yourself, that may be a little bit harder. You always have the option of going on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is free, okay? You can always put out a post and you can ask the question, hey, does anybody know about Modifier 25? And they may say, okay, well, yeah, here's all these resources and things like that. And then, and if you say, well, I don't really understand when to apply Modifier 25 because I think it's this, but then this thing says this. So what is the deal? Somebody's going to give you an answer. Somebody's going to come along and want to give you an answer and say, oh, yes, it's this, it's XYZ, and then they'll be able to explain to you. So there goes getting somebody else's perspective, okay? And then from that perspective, you want to make sure that, of course, you thank them for their time, but verify. Don't just blindly follow what they say. Now, don't be that person that, wants to challenge everything that they say after they just explain it to you, but just make sure that you double check so that way you understand what they just said, okay? There's a difference in what that all means. But if you are just like blindly following and without doing your own research, that's when you start believing whatever other people say, and it doesn't work very well. But if you incorporate learning, that does help. Okay, well, I'm going to verify. Oh, yeah, that's correct. People tell me they do that all the time. To some of the stuff that I say. So that's fine. They go, well, you were right. Yeah. Okay, but what are you going to do, Quizlet also has a lot of fun games, believe it or not. They have the matchup games on their website, so you may want to check that out. Quizlet has everything under the sun, and this is not an ad for Quizlet, but Quizlet is pretty awesome, guys. I mean, I've had many hours where I'm just spending like playing those games, and then it challenges you, and then it does the flashcards and things like that. But some of those you have to kind of watch, because it's people who make those up too sometimes, and sometimes the answers are wrong. So you got to make sure that you do your due diligence and double check, But when you do find a really good set of flashcards, playing games with those really does help. And I know it's helped me. Hi, Letty, doing great. What did I miss? Woo. So Infinite, I hope that answers your question. JR says they want to code while on road trips or while on a bender. Alexandria says, thank you for coming on tonight. You're most welcome. Nadia says, on the job, in-person experience is needed before working remote, in my humble opinion. It is. It totally is. Carolyn says, OMG, I caught this live. Hi, Blue. Hi, everyone. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Raspberry. Hey, Blue. Do you think 50 per hour is excessive for diagnostic radiology coding? That's data entry. That's not coding. That's data entry. How much, Stephanie says, how much cost the license after passing the board? We are not doctors. Doctors, nurses have licenses. We have certifications, and it is not a board exam. Okay, let's just get that straight. It is not a board exam. We are not licensed. We are certified. They have certifying bodies. We have associations that we belong to, but it is not a board. It is not a state exam. It is not a license. It's not any of those things. Okay, it is a certification. You have a certification from an association, the American Health Information Management Association or the American Academy of Professional Coders. And how much is it? And then you can Google that. You know, if you're looking for a specific certification, you can Google what is the certification cost for the CCA? What is certification cost for CCS, CCSP, CPC? And it'll tell you. You can Google it, or you can go to the association websites and find them right there. Alexandra says, you are amazing to accomplish this all in your 20s. I was wild in my 20s. JR, you know I was thanking Blue. See, now I was questioning myself just now when I read that. I was like, okay, was she talking to me or was she talking to him? And I was like, okay, well, I just told her you're welcome, and now I feel like an idiot. So, okay, but glad you are okay. All right, I am glad too. Letty says, oh, thanks, Letty. Lizzie says, what is the difference between temp agencies and recruiters recruiting agencies? How do you differentiate between the two? And I'm so glad, Infinite. Are you trying to be funny, reviews? Because that's not funny. And I'm going to put you out. Boom. All right. So how do you differentiate between the two? So a temp agency is not going to offer you a sign-on bonus like a recruiter will. So a recruiter will be like, oh, well, we have, you know, all of these positions open for people who have experience, and we're looking for remote coders, and you can set your own hours, yada, yada, yada. And we have sign-on bonuses and things like that. That's a recruiter, okay? Somebody who's trying to get you in by enticing you with all of these things. That's a recruiter, okay? And you'll see, and there's a bunch of companies. I'm not naming names because I don't like a lot of them. A temp agency is usually a local place, right? A local place that you type in temporary agencies for medical professionals in your area. And then when you go and you look at those, then they'll say, we're hiring for like billers, we're hiring for coders, for administrative staff for this hospital because we have a contract or whatever. That's a temp agency. That you can be like, okay, well, you know, I can go and work with them because they'll give you an assessment test, and then you'll be able to, you know, they'll know if you pass or not. And then if you pass, then obviously they'll move you on to the next round of finding a job. If you are going to a recruiter, you can take an assessment test with a recruiter, but a recruiter is a headhunter. So if you don't have all of the things that they want, that the employer is asking for, like experience, certain certifications and things like that, they're not going to mess with you. They'll ghost you. They won't even call you because you're wasting their time, because they don't have time to waste with somebody like you who has no experience. Why are they going to waste time and listen to somebody who says, well, no, I need a job and that kind of thing. And while some of them may sympathize with you, you're not helping them to earn money. So that's why they're not going to worry about you. But a temp agency will be like, if you're working, then we're making money. So we're going to try to find you a job. We are going to go out into the community. We're going to make sure that we, you know, see if there's any job positions out there. And if they call you like in the morning, hey, can you work today? Because, you know, they need like 5 people to do some administrative clerical work at this hospital over here. Do you think you can show up today? Yeah, sure. And then you go and then you work. And then depending, you know, on their thing, sometimes they pay you that same day. Sometimes they make you wait a week. Sometimes you get paid on Friday, you know. So, I mean, it really all depends how those things go. But a lot of times people will only see things like, oh, it's a temp agency, so they only want you to work at certain things. No, it's if you're available. Sometimes you have to like call in and say, hey, I'm available today. And then they'll be like, okay, yes, we have something, or no, we don't have anything today, but you know, we'll keep you in mind if if anything comes in, because sometimes they will get like, you know, those requests in for people like at 9 o'clock in the morning. They'll be like, hey, we have somebody who can work today. Well, let me call them and we'll call you back. Hey, can you work today? Yes, sure. and then you go, and then you work. And if you don't like that job, well, great, because now you know what you don't like, right? And the great thing about working for a temp agency is if you say, hey, this place didn't work out for me, I didn't really like it, then they'll be like, okay, well, we're not going to send her back over there, or we're not going to send him back over there. So we'll just send him to another job or whatever. So, I mean, I've worked for temp agencies quite a few times. I've had some interesting jobs with temp agencies. But, it's all about experience too. Because if you go into these places, and let's just say, because they will not hire you for one day to be a coder. Okay, they're not. Okay, it's not the way that it works. When I call in sick or when I'm out on leave, my work is waiting for me when I come back. But if maybe they need help, getting backlog down. Okay, so we need somebody for 30 days to help us get this backlog down. And then you get this assignment for 30 days, and now you're learning to code. Well, all of that experience goes right onto your resume. Oh, you're working for this temp agency at this particular hospital, and this is what you did. These are all the things that you did while you're here. You were coding, you were working with Epic or Cerner or any of these other electronic health records. And then you were doing like this kind of production if you want to. Depending on how much production you did, sometimes you don't have to put that down, but just say, what specialty were you working for and that kind of thing. If you were doing the emergency department, hey, that's great, because this person is well-rounded now after a month, because what are you coding in the ER? Heart attacks, strokes, accidents, all these things. So you're doing all these things, and that's getting you stronger with, okay, I coded in this electronic medical record, and I was doing this kind of coding, and my accuracy was pretty good because I stayed on the whole time. And because they won't keep you if your accuracy is not good, So with that, now you have experience that you're building on. And guess what else? You've also made connections in that hospital. Well, they're a temp, but they're going to be here for another few days or maybe a week or so. Oh, okay, well, we have an opening, or, do you know so-and-so is hiring, and, they need a coder, and hey, that would be great. That's how you make connections. And that's what's so great about a temp agency, is that it's not fully committed yet, but, there's a little bit of, hey, we're getting to know each other. And there's people who say, well, Blue, I want to work for free so that way I can get that experience in, and they'll hire me for free. Do not work for free, period. Why? Because you are going into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Why would you work for free when these people can clearly pay you? Do not work for free. That's the problem. And there's people out there who are willing to take advantage of people who will want to work for free. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to let you get all the experience like you think. If they can get free labor out of you, don't you think that they would take that free labor and just run with it? Because a lot of times people will say, well, Blue, I got hired on as a secretary because they promised me during the interview, I told them about my aspirations to be a coder, and they were telling me, oh, yes, you'll be able to do coding and that kind of thing. Meanwhile, this poor person is running themselves ragged around this office, keeping it running, keeping it going, not getting any experience with coding, not getting all of the things that they were promised. And now look, you've wasted a year, 2 years, and what's happening to your coding skill? Oh, trust me, it's falling away, because a lot of times people will stop studying. The majority of the people will stop studying. And this is what I say, you have to continue to study, because otherwise you will lose it if you do not continue to study. So I'm just saying. All right, let's see. Okay, good. I'm glad, Stephanie. JR, causing trouble. Talk about getting cut. LOL. Blue is straight out of here. Boom. I don't like that. I don't like when people think that it's cute and funny to put that kind of stuff. No one has time for that. And that's just BS. No one has time for it. Someone did the Thanos finger snap. I never saw that movie, but I thought it looked pretty good in the previews. Stephanie, are you serious? This must be your first time watching my channel, although I don't know if you're the same Stephanie that has been commenting before or if it's another Stephanie. Are you the same Stephanie that's been commenting before? Lizzie says, thanks for the okay. Then I answered you. I answered you, and I'm not answering you again. I'm not answering you again, honey. You're going to have to go back through and look at your comments because I'm not answering this again. Lizzie says, thank you for the explanation. I did look up the temp agencies around in my area, but wasn't sure if they truly were. I also noticed some calling themselves staffing agencies as well. It's, what is it? Help me. What is it when they, not a misnomer. What is it? It's when they say something. God, there's a word. There's a word that I want. But it basically, it's I can't think of the word. Travis says when I'll think of it here in a minute, Lizzie. I'll think of it here in a minute. Travis says, when will an employer wash you out as a coder if you are slow? Typically, they try to give you a chance. If they're good, they'll try to give you a chance. You know, they're not going to just throw you out with the bathwater, okay? They're going to try to give you a chance. If you are showing that maybe, okay, if you're showing that you're trying to learn, right? And let's just say you're showing that you're getting nervous and you're overthinking. And if they are saying, hey, don't overthink, it's okay, and you're showing that you're improving, they will give you a chance. But if you are like, okay, I'm overthinking and I'm continuing to overthink, and then they're explaining it to me and I'm still going back to them asking questions because I didn't write stuff down and I'm not listening to what they're saying, and then I'm still like not getting it because I'm trying to overthink and trying to learn it on my own but not listening to sound advice, then they would be a little bit quicker to get you out of there. But they're not just going to throw people away. Usually when you get hired, they see something in you that is positive, that they want that quality, they want that energy. And when you do that, then, you know, everything's okay. But when you're still like not listening and there's no way this person's going to learn because they just want to do it their way, then that's when they're more likely to get rid of you quicker. But if you preoccupy your mind as soon as you get in with, oh my gosh, they're going to fire me, and I've been here a week and I can't catch on. A week? No one is going to expect you to catch on in a week. Typically, the ramp up period, meaning that you get in and you start to learn things and you ramp up in production and accuracy, things like that, takes about 90 days. You know, but if they're saying that your goose is cooked in 30 days because you didn't catch on fast enough, that's probably not the place that you want to be anyway. I'm just saying. Does that make sense? Lo says, this is my first time watching your channel. As someone who is considering this career, what is the job outlook at this present time for medical coders? We're not going anywhere. That's the job outlook. Raspberry, what is considered long-term contract? I've been with this agency for 6 months, a long-term contract, but no end date. You know, you can go other places. You're not just tied to them. Get your experience and move on whenever you're ready, you know. Continue to apply, especially if you feel like they're dragging you on. A long-term contract can be any length of time. It could be a year, it could be 2 years. It's up to them. But to me, if you feel like you're not growing anywhere, you're not, you know, doing anything that you want to do, you're not learning, you know, you're not progressing, write down your experience on your resume, get to applying, so that way you can find yourself another job. You know, as easy as you were able to find that job, you could find another job. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I love that saying. I don't get to say it too much, so that's why I take advantage whenever I can. Alexandra says, Google it in your area, Lo. Every place is different. Tara says, thank you for everything you do for us to help us learn. Thank you so much, Travis. You're welcome. Stephanie, I'm happy because I'm going to finally start the billing and coding course. Good for you. Amanda says, today is the last day of the medical coding program and I'm thinking of taking my exam on the 26th. Yay, congratulations. All right, so any other comments, questions? I will. I will, Alexandra. At least I'm going to try anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up because I still have to film for tomorrow's episode, which is going to be about remote working. What you should know about remote working. Shamika. Hello, Shamika. Hello, Blue. I have been a medical coder for a year now, and I'm still working on my productivity. Any advice for me to get better? Shamika, can I do this as an episode for Thursday? Would you be okay with that? Because I needed an idea, and that gives me a perfect idea for Thursday night. Because I'm already going to talk about the remote coding tomorrow, but that would be a good one for Thursday night. If you don't mind, I'll talk about that then. Thank you, Sarah. JR says, nope, don't want to get the finger snap of doom. Travis says, HCC risk adjustment career advice. If you only have a CPCA, is this a valued job for coding skill building? So, Travis, I have said in a few other videos that if you're going to start out in HCC, okay, don't let this hurt your feelings, other people, okay? If you are an HCC coder, don't let this hurt your feelings, okay? I'm just saying what I see in the job listings. If you are going to start in HCC, make it a short stay, like 6 months. 6 months, because this is only diagnosis coding. What happens when a CPCA starts in a risk adjustment position? Okay, you get so excited because you only get to do diagnosis coding. That's it. So you're like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. Yes, but what happens to your CPT and procedure coding skills? You start to lose them. Modifiers. Well, what's that? What am I applying here? Meanwhile, a year has gone by and you're like, oh no, I've only worked in HCC. There are some companies that will not allow people who have been working HCC only to apply because they're like, no, that to us is no experience. Because if HCC has been your only experience, we do not consider that as experience. That's what I have seen in the job listings, guys. Don't challenge me on this because I've seen it. Okay? And I say that if you're in a HCC position right now, use that time to build a little bit of skill, okay? The electronic medical record. And then you get familiarity with the record itself. And then, of course, with your diagnosis coding. But move on 6 months, 8 months max. And start looking for another job so that way you can take that skill that you got and you gained during that short amount of time and apply it somewhere else, and you still haven't lost all of your CPT skill. That's just my advice anyway. Okay, great. Thanks, Shamika. Amanda says, thank you for all you do, motivating us and giving us quality content. Natasha says, thank you. I was caught up on a call, but still watching. Have a great night. Can you talk a risk adjustment HCC career? Can I talk about an HCC risk adjustment career? Is that what you're asking me, Travis? Okay, Natasha, good. I guess, yes, no, maybe so. You're welcome. You're welcome, Jennifer. Okay, well, Travis and I asked answering me. All right. Hey guys, thanks for the love. I appreciate all the thumbs up. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up since Travis didn't answer. All right. You're welcome, Crystal. You're welcome, Jennifer. All right, guys. I will go ahead and wrap this one up. But thanks so much for joining me. If this video helped you, even though it was a smorgasbord of topics. Sorry on the phones. Okay, okay. Okay, so are you asking me to do a video about risk adjustment? Good night, Carolyn. I guess so. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks so much, guys. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.